Hello and welcome to Code Rhetoric with Tam Talk. On today's video, I will be discussing the 8 passive streams of income. As you can see, I am still working remote. So yes, yeah, that's it. That's all we need to know. So let's get into this. So one of the things that I want to stress, and I actually listened to another video and she brought it to my attention that I may need to share with you all. 8 passive streams of incomes, it sounds like it's not a lot of work involved. You just start something and then you just start generating income. No, there's work that you have to do. You have to build your work up front, or build your content up front, which does require work and which does require time. And once that has started, or once that work has been completed and you start sharing and promoting, then the monetization will start occurring. So I want to put that little disclaimer in there that the things that I'm about to share will require some work. It's not like you say, okay, well, I'm just going to put this out there and that's it. No, it does require some work up front, depending on what you want to do. Pretty much everything that I'm going to be talking about will require some work up front. Okay, and it will take time. Just so you know, it will take time. It's not like you're going to make like a gazillion or $1 million overnight. It will take time. The length of time it will take, it varies depending on, one, the stream that you are creating, and also the person and the people, your potential customers. So the first one that I want to talk about is online courses. Of course, this is something that any certified coder can do. You can create a course. Pretty much, you don't even have to be a coder to create a course because everybody's creating courses. But I'm speaking specifically to our industry, how you can maximize on your coding credential. You can create a course, and it's pretty, I would say, any coder can do it, but I would say it's probably more so beneficial to those who have worked in the industry, who have worked as a coder, who has experience. Perhaps you're in a specialty and you're really good at that specialty. And so you want to share your techniques, your strategies, your tips on how to succeed at coding in that particular specialty or subspecialty. So creating an online course will be beneficial to you because you may have some incoming, I would say, newly certified coders, or maybe students who are interested in pursuing a specific specialty. I would say that I've actually had some customers or clients or students who wanted to focus on a particular specialty. Reasons or varied why they wanted to code that particular specialty. But nonetheless, hey, you can create a course giving your perspective, sharing your strategies and tips for that. And so if that is something that you're interested in, I will share my webinar where I teach you how to build your course. I give you step-by-step everything, including the pricing, how to price your courses, where to launch it, how to host it, how to go about creating content. All of that I will share with you. Then the next one is digital products. So, and I would say digital products and books go hand in hand because I am an author at least 3 times over. And I said at least because I've been asked, or it's been requested that I create more ebooks, right? So you can create books. Like for me, I created 3 books. One is on how to get away with surgical coding, pretty much just telling you how to dissect an operative report. The next one is remote coding, knowing what the requirements are. And then the third one is actually the 8 streams of income as a certified medical coder. So each of these books were spawned from one, a speaking engagement, as well as questions that were most frequently asked to me. One, when it came to the operative report, people, and I say people, coders, students were looking for quick ways to dissect an operative report to save time. but they were missing specific components when it came to the coding. So I created that book basically to share step by step how to dissect an operative report. And actually, it also stemmed from me starting speaking on it. I actually was invited to speak about that topic. And so I used my speaking content as my outline to create my book. It's not a big book, it's a small book, but it works and it sells, and it has been selling for the last 4 years. So it works. I sell it on Amazon, I sell it on my website, and then at the time when I created the books, ebooks wasn't available. Now these books are ebooks. So I sell it in the physical form as well as an ebook, right? So that's that. And so we talked about courses, now we talk about books. Now we're talking about podcasting. And again, podcasting and speaking. Like I mentioned before, I was invited to speak at different, I would say, local chapters, conferences, coding conferences, speaking about coding. And like I said, of course, you have to create content because you have to know what the subject matter is in which you're speaking to educate or engage the audience or the attendees. So I use my content from speaking as an outline to create the book. And the reason why I say that is because I thought, okay, there were people there who were in attendance, but what about the coders who were in attendance? They will also need to know this information, right? So then I created the book as a way to share with those who could not make it. And so, hey, so everything grows off of each other. And let me go back and say this. One of the hardest things for, I would say, entrepreneurs or maybe someone who wants to start like selling products or services is finding their industry, finding their market, finding their people who may be interested in those particular topics or subject or those services that they're offering. The beauty of being a medical coder is you've already found your niche. You've already found your community. You've already found your target audience. You are a medical coder. There are organizations, whether you go to a chapter meeting, the national meeting, you already found your community. So that should eliminate the first issue or the first concern is finding their target audience. Your target audience is coders. You can also market to those who aren't coders in hopes to get them to pique their interest into entering the medical coding industry. So you already found your target audience. You've already eliminated the first issue in selling anything. You know your target audience is medical coding, right? So I'm going to piggy forward to the podcasting. So here's my thing. People learn in different ways. People learn by touching, seeing, hearing, tasting, what have you. So, okay, we talked about me speaking, right? We talked about me building an online course. And then we talked about me writing books, okay? So people see here. Now we get into podcasting, right? Okay, people learn by hearing, right? There are people who actually learn by hearing. They don't need to see it. They don't need to touch it. They can hear it and they will learn. So you take that same information and you share it in a podcast. And podcasting, it doesn't have to be on video, but that's where we are now. I have 2 podcasts, one that is coding related and one that is non-coding related. And I don't record or video them, either one of them. Why? Because one, I'm on YouTube. So why do I need to record myself twice? It just allows me to speak comfortably about the subject matter to those who are listening. And do people listen? Yes, they do listen. They do listen to your podcast, right? They do listen to what you have to say and apply. And the reason why I love the podcast is because your audience is the world. It's not just your local community. It is the world, right? They're interested in what you have to say. And yeah, so there you go. For example, I have listeners all over the world. I have listeners in Africa. I have listeners in on various, I would say on all continents, even in the U.S., different states, they are listening to the podcast, and so if they're interested in what you're saying, they will reach out to you to inquire about learning more or taking the course or becoming a certified medical coder. So yes, so don't be afraid. You don't have to be in front of the camera to do a podcast. You can, hey, podcast is audio, so talk, right? The next one is products. So I mentioned I sell the ebooks and the physical books. So it kind of falls into line with the physical books, the physical products as well as the digital products. Physical products. So I also sell merch. As you can see here, I have my little hoodie on with my logo on it. This is one of my merchandise, one of my products that I sell on Etsy as well as on my website. Right? I sell products because I branched into what I call risk adjustment coding, risk adjustment as in risk adjustment active wear. I sell active wear along with, like, again, my hoodie. Yeah, it's on Etsy on my website. I sell leggings. I sell t-shirts. I sell bags, whatever, it's being sold. Anything that's specific to the coding lifestyle, the coding industry. Risk adjustment is a form of coding. So we're risk adjusting, so we won't be the charts that we code. Another thing that I also sell is remote coding products. I sell travel gear, right? Because remote coding, we are remote, and sometimes when we hear remote coding, we seem deemed to be stationary. Well, if the organization allows you to work in another state, another city, long as you're secure, why not go and do remote coding? So I sell travel gear that is specific, that caters to the remote coder, right? So those are my digital products: risk adjustment active wear, remote coding, travel gear. And then my next thing is, now we're moving on because I'm excited about this thing, as you can see. So the next thing that I talk about, this is actually not passive. This is actually something you're going to have to show up to do this. So consulting or coaching. So, or contracting. So I'm putting coaching, consulting, and contracting in the same category, right? Because you do have to show up for those services. So with the coaching, I am talking to an individual. I've scheduled a one-on-one meeting with an individual to go over whatever they want to talk about, whether it's a specific specialty, or it could be, it could be anything, whatever they want to talk about that's coding related, specific. So we talk about that, and I gauge, time that per hour, per 2 hours, what have you, and I charge for that. So that's the coaching part of it. The second one is consulting. I've worked with other organizations as a freelancer or as a consultant, and using my coding expertise in that manner to assist that organization with whatever project they are working on. So that is something, but of course you have to show up for that. And then contracting. You can do contracts with various organizations, hospitals, or whatever, and it could be short-term or long-term, or whatever the work is done, right? Providing your coding expertise, your coding knowledge, what have you. So there is different ways you can create streams of income. So again, the coaching, consulting, and the contracting, though that is not a passive income, but it is one where you have to show up for that, for the time frame in which they are requesting you to show up, right? Again, short term, long term. And so, but again, each of these things take time. They take time to grow. You have to do the work up front. Specifically with the online course, of course, you have to set up the course, right? The content, everything, the pricing, everything. The next one with your speaking, you will have to create content. What are you going to talk about, right? What are you going to speak about? The next one is the book. You have to write the book, right? In order for it to sell, you have to write a book. How long does the book have to be it depends on what the topic is, what the content is, what message are you trying to convey to the reader? Like, are you trying to tell them how to dissect an operative report? Are you trying to tell them what to expect in a remote coding setting? Or are you trying to tell them the different ways that they can monetize their certification? So these are the things or the questions you should be asking yourself prior to venturing into a passive income. And so once you do all the work up front and you launch your product or service, then you need to promote it, and then you will start generating income, monetizing. There are some more that I actually am involved in right now, but that will be another video. As you can see, technology is evolving, and so we'll go there. And I may drop an ebook, a quick ebook on I would say the updated version of the 8 passive incomes, because now I am currently maybe at 12 or 13 streams of income when it comes to medical coding. So yeah, so I will create. Yeah, I won't talk about it in this one because I'm still working on that, and I will share that with you all later. But again, if you are interested in learning how to create your online course, I have a webinar that teaches you step by step how to build your content, where to launch your content, how to price your content, your course, everything in the webinar. Very basic, very straightforward, very step by step, very practical, so that you won't be lost when you're trying to build your course. And again, your course doesn't have to be a full-fledged, I'm going to teach you how to become a certified medical coder. It could be, I've worked in anesthesia for a certain number of years. I've developed some techniques, some strategies that help me succeed in this particular specialty. Let me share those strategies and tips with you. That can be a course, that can be a book, that can be, okay, can I come speak about it? So these are different things that you can do to generate different streams of income in the medical coding industry. Like I said, the very hard part is finding your target audience, and which you have already found because you are in medical coding. This is a very large community, So you've already succeeded in that particular issue that most people find is that you already know who your target audience is. You already found your niche. So you are lucky. So again, my question is, what are you waiting for? Get started. So so that's all that I have, and I will start delving into the different areas of different subjects more. And then, as I said, because my streams of income have increased since I wrote that particular book, and I will be sharing those streams in a future video. So so that's all that I have. We'll get into it later. All right, so that's all that I have. Let me get back to coding, I guess. All right.